thank you for joining this session today. So we are going to talk a bit about customer retention and how to really, keep those customers that you're acquiring for a lot of money during the holiday season. And I would like to start with a little question. So who of you guys is one of these people who just looks at the best offers and just buys their presents everywhere? Can I get hands? Oh, that's a few. And are there some loyalists that are like, no, I'm just buying it from one brand or one certain shop? Oh, a few as well. That's good. So I think we all know who the champions are that we really want to go for and that we really want to have. So before we all get excited for the shopping, I guess all of you probably already did something for Black Friday. But let's look into it and see how we can generate customers like you, loyal one over there as well, and what we have to do. So first I want to look back a bit on the holiday shopping of last year. And it's just a big business. Around a third of all the retail sales are generated in this time. That's 30%. That's really a lot. And this is why all the retailers are going crazy around that time. And 67% of those retail sales, which were around 1 trillion euros, which is a very big number, they came from mobile. And so mobile is definitely becoming a more and more important retail channel as well. And one thing to keep in mind as well, even if I think, at least for me, most people start their buying pretty late before Christmas, but 30% actually started, 45%, started in October already. So, how do we really get those people? I think we have to look at the current situation as well. So the economy is going down, there is a recession, there is war in Europe, but still, if you look at the global numbers, people are spending money and it's not getting less, it is getting even more. And so all those retail sales that are projected for this year are really increasing from the numbers of last year. And I think the people just think a bit more about where to actually spend their money. And that's definitely going to be with brands that they trust and that have the best engagement strategies with them. And talking about those shoppers that we are looking at globally as well, it is big numbers. So people spend a lot of money on the Black Friday sales, but also for the different other occasions, maybe Thanksgiving, especially in the US, Christmas, or also New Year's Eve. And the question is, how do we really get to them? And for that, I think this is my favorite slide, because to really keep those customers and keep them coming back and really make them happy, it is really important to understand retention as itself and why it is so important. And my favorite thing that I always tell people is it's 5 times more expensive to get a new customer than to retain an old one. So why don't you just look at the guys and girls that you're already in touch with, who already know your brand, make their experience as good as possible. And also, those customers, if you talk to them in the right way, they have a way higher success rate, which is 60 to 70% higher compared to a new customer that you just acquired. And American Express found that 86% of customers actually would pay more for better service. And one company that's really proving that is Amazon. I know that probably most of you will have an Amazon account, and I guess the reason why you keep ordering there is convenience, it's a lot of different factors, but they really did their retention game very, very well. And they did a lot of things that I'm talking about today as well with their customers. So mobile app retention is something that's just very, very interesting, because the mobile market is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and that is also a global number. So you have 230 billion mobile apps downloaded. So that's really a lot of stuff. You have 8 trillion hours spent on apps and games. That's a lot of our time. I mean, look at yourself. I think I see a few people having their phones in the hand at the moment. So I know it's very tempting, so listen in. I think the revenue that's coming from mobile apps is going to increase even more. And I mean, no surprise here, because everyone's just using it all the time and the numbers are increasing. By 2025, it's suspected to be around 658 billion retail sales revenue in 2025. And I guess most of you will want to have a little piece of this cake. So how do you actually keep those customers, right? Because again, I guess most of you will spend a lot of money on acquiring new customers. So can I see hands on who of you actually have a strategy to gain new customers now in this holiday season? Who of you have a special strategy for it? None? Ah, over there. Thank you. And who of you also have a strategy to retain those customers that you acquire in the same? Well, the one hand said no, so you'll better make one. So the question again, how do you do that? So I think it's really important to deliver what is expected of your brand. And I think most of you will be able to just look inside. What is it that you expect from a brand? When we conducted a study together with Deloitte, we found people want to have a really good experience over all the channels. It has to be consistent and relevant to them. And there's several factors that make that experience very good and also helps to retain that user. Number one is be where your customers are. And it sounds very easy, but it means understanding them and really knowing, hey, which is the channel that I can reach this customer on in the best way? Or at which is the right time? Also, using things like push notifications very strategically, not just like bombarding them with the same messages, but make it relevant to the individual. So for example, I obviously like black shirts, so you might want to give me a recommendation for a product that actually is in my interest range and not something else. And if you do that at the right time, I'm very proud to also buy it. The personalization in the experience is something, again, that's just very, very important as well. And that is going a bit further than just doing something like, hello, first name. I mean, we've also always gotten different emails that are like, hey, hello, Maike. Good, I get them. But is that really what makes a personalized experience? I highly doubt it. So really work on your personalization and look at the interests and the individual character of your customers. And for that, you can use AI to really help you do that personalization on a deeper level, because nobody can expect that you guys are doing that manually as well. Then offer genuine discounts. Discounts is not something retail people like to hear, but it does work. But also do good content recommendations. Again, with the black shirts, that might be interesting for me, but for my colleague over there, blue vests might be the better option. Then provide flexible payment and delivery options. For that, I think Amazon, again, is a very good example, because why are we ordering there again and again? It's convenient, and we know that it's very likely to arrive on the next day because we obviously all have a Prime membership. And then also give excellent customer service. So if you have a hotline where people have to press numbers to get through to someone and then wait for 2 hours, I don't think they will really like it. I think we all had that experience before. And I think the worst thing is, if things really, like shit is hitting the fan, they might even post about it on social media and let others know. And that's not only losing one customer, but losing a lot of them. And I think there are several steps that we have to look at to really get deeper into this retention topic. And again, know your customers. Yeah, sounds easy, but it really means to understand the individual, and that starts with tracking their behavior, tracking their interest. I think there is also the place where AI is very well to come into play, because if you have so much data, have 1,000 customers, but each of those customers might have 100 attributes and a lot of history that you need to understand in order to really personalize. So leverage technology to do so. And once you have that infrastructure, do engage with your customers in real time. Because if I add something to the cart, the old example, and then leave again, please nudge me right away and really show me that you know me, that you are there right away, and that I don't have to wait for my experience. Use the right channels. I might just read my email every day, 6 p.m. after work, whereas you, for example, might be more prone to react to a push message. So everyone is very individual in their habits of how they consume content and how they react to different kinds of messaging. So be on the right channel, again, using AI to just figure out how do I talk to the individual in the best way. Behavioral data is just the key to do that, because otherwise, how do I know that you like push messages more and I have a certain time that I always open my emails? So really generate it and use it, because then you will be able to just action on those insights. And lastly, predict and plan for the future. So I'm not saying just looking at the individual, surely also look at your campaigns, make a broader analysis of what worked, what didn't work, and then learn from it for the future. Also, one thing that's talked about a lot is customer journeys. And oftentimes we tend to try and design those journeys or understand them very much in depth, and then we have those huge flows, which is fine. But we should keep in mind that no matter how much we like to define on a black canvas how a customer will do an onboarding of the in-app, for example, but in the end, every single journey should be different. Again, because of different timings or different, I'm more prone to get a different notification than someone else. So make sure, think in those flows, but also personalize them based on the different behavior and interests and all of that that make your customer unique. And that also means optimizing all the touch points step by step. You can't go from 0 to hero in 1 second. It's a step-by-step process. But really look at it again and see where you can add more intelligence to it. Because if those people then have a more relevant experience in their journey, they're again more likely to come back to you. And that also means understanding different buyer personas. Then finding the balance between human and digital. I talked a bit about AI, and I think it's a very powerful thing to use, especially for any kind of mobile app business where it's getting a bit more complicated. You're talking to very different people, different personas. However, AI is never a replacement for real human interaction. Coming back to the support thing that I was talking about earlier. Imagine you are in that hotline because you have a problem with your order, and then all you get is like pressing numbers and then waiting in the next waiting line, and then some robotic voice tells you something that's not even relevant for you, and you don't get to talk to a real person. So this is when we want human empathy and someone who is a real person to solve our problem, and not some AI to respond to us. So select well when AI, for example, for any urgent matters, for things like your order confirmation, like that ad hoc communication that gets triggered, this is when AI is very fine, or to understand large amounts of data. But for example, when it comes to empathy, things like support, please also don't forget that we're all humans and we want to be understood by humans as well, because that makes a good experience and that makes the people love your brand as well. And yeah, I think generally looking at the market, I think it is very important to know that the market is growing. We have seen a lot of those numbers, and the market is definitely going to create a lot of challenges and a lot of competition, because where there might be one app for one product or one range today, there might be 10 tomorrow. And since globalization is becoming bigger and bigger, there might be other apps from other countries that are coming over here, localizing, and then trying to get your little piece of cake from the market. So please bear in mind, the market itself is expanding, so the competition for each and every single new customer is becoming way, way tougher. So if I were you, I would try to hold on to every single one of those customers that you already have as much as possible. Give them some love, and I'm 100% sure that they will also love you back and reward you for that relevant experience. Thank you.